Good morning, Math 8 students. We are going to do a review today of all of the different types of factoring that we have learned because you guys are going to be having a test. This assignment is going to be due on, let's make it due Tuesday night at 11:59. And I am going to do a Zoom with you guys on Wednesday morning at, let's make it at 10 a.m. And after that, you guys, I'm going to assign the test on Wednesday and it will be due on Thursday. So I will just review with you anything that you need from this review sheet. And then after that, you guys have the test. So what I want you to know about reviewing all types of factoring is that there is a factor order that I always want you to be checking for. The first thing I want you to check for is GCF. The second thing that I want you to check for after you've noticed that GCF is not possible is dots, which is the difference of two squares. And the third thing would be Ma method. So this is always going to be first. But some clues for dots, if it's not GCF, is that you would have two terms and you have to have subtraction in the middle. And remember that those two terms, of course, have to be perfect squares, but subtraction term has to be in the middle, okay? And for Ma method, I want you to remember that it's going to be three terms. That's your big clue, okay? And then you would say multiplies and adds. So let's go through choices 1, 2, and 3 without me telling you specifically what type of factoring you would use. And we'll try each of these for GCF, dots, or Ma method. Do you see a greatest common factor between 9x squared and minus 4? I do not either. So the next thing I'm going to try for is dots. Well, I see that there are two terms with a minus sign in the middle, so hopefully I can take the square root of each of these terms. Let's see if I can. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of x squared is x. And the square root of 4 is 2. So one gets a plus and one gets a minus, and that's definitely a dot situation right there. Okay, question number 2. Is this a GCF? Well, they don't all have x's, so I can't take an x out of all of them. And this one has a 1 in front of it, so there's no number either in common. I know it's not dots because there's 3 terms, so let me check for my Ma method. My Ma method, remember, I'm going to multiply to the back number and add to the center. Multiply to negative 10 and add to positive 3. The factors of 10 are 1 and 10, which will not make a 3. They'll make 11 or a 9 if I add or subtract them. And the other sets of factors are 2 and 5, which I think I can get a 3 out of. So let's work on 2 and 5 for a minute. If I use 2 and 5, I'm going to look to my multiplication symbol and I'm going to say I'm multiplying to a negative result, which means my signs have to be different. So then I'm going to look to my middle term and say I'm adding to a positive 3. So the larger of these two numbers, which is my 5, is going to get the positive sign that the add sign has. Positive 5 and negative 3, positive 5 and negative 2 multiplied to negative 10, check. And positive 5 and negative 2 add to a positive 3, check. So the answers for this one are going to be x minus 2 and x plus 5. And that's that. Okay, and the last one. Wow, this thing looks crazy. I'm definitely going to try for a GCF here. So my numbers are 12, 6, and 30. Let me try the smallest of all these numbers, which is 6. 6 goes into 12, yes, and 6 goes into 30, yep. So 6 is going to be my number. Let's look for A's. A squared, and A. So they all have a to the first, which is the smallest of all of those variables. This one has b to the first, and b to the third. So I'm going to choose b to the first. That's in common. This has x squared, x cubed, and 0 x's. So 6ab is my answer for my GCF. I'm going to divide each of these by 6ab. And what I'm noticing on some of your homework is that you guys are forgetting that 6ab has to be part of the answer. That's the first part of your answer. And the second part of your answer, the part that goes in the parentheses, is what you get when you divide 6ab into each of these terms. So 6 goes into 12 and we get a 2. A gets divided by A and it cancels out. B gets divided by B and we're left with x squared plus 6 divided by 6 is a 1. I don't have to write it, but I can if I want. A squared divided by A gets divided and we left with an A. B divided by B gets divided and we're left with a 1. And finally, x cubed. And in the last one, minus 30 divided by 6 is a minus 5. A divided by A cancels out, and B cubed divided by B is B to the, remember to subtract, B to the second power. And that's going to be our final answer there. So even though I didn't tell you specifically what type of factoring to use, if you follow your factor order, you should be able to determine what kind of factoring to use. So on number 4, what kind of factoring will we try first? And my answer, of course, is always going to be GCF. That's always my number 1. So let's see if we can find something in common. 3 and 75. So you know what I'm going to say. We always want to check to see if it's the smaller of the two numbers. So I'm going to take my calculator and divide 75 by 3 and see if it divides them evenly. Yes, it does. So my GCF is definitely going to have 3 in it. This is a to the 4th and a cubed. So we're going to say a to the smaller of the two exponents, a cubed. B squared and b, smaller of the two exponents, b to the 1st. And m to the 4th, smaller of the two exponents, which is going to be m to the 1st. So let's go dividing all of those out. And we'll see what we get. Do not forget to take that 3a cubed bm and put it in the front. People who are not doing that on your homework, I know that you are clearly not watching these videos. So prove to me that you're watching my videos by putting this in the front. Okay, 3 divided by 3 divides. A to the 4th divided by a to the 3rd is just a. B squared divided by b is a b. And m divided by m is just a 1. So I'm going to leave that alone. Minus 75 divided by 3 is 25. A cubed divided by itself divides out. B divided by b divides out. M to the 4th divided by m is m cubed. And let me just check. I want to make sure that there's nothing else I can do. Can I do a GCF? Nope. Definitely not a dots and definitely not a trinomial, so it's not a Ma method. I'm done with number 4. Moving on to number 5. Do you see a GCF? So GCF, nope, because there's nothing in common, especially when I have the number in the front as a 1 and I have nothing in the back. Okay, let's try dots. Well, it doesn't even have 2 terms, it has 3 terms, so I don't think so. Ma method, most likely. So we're going to say multiplies to the last term, which is a positive 81, and adds to the middle term, which is a negative 18. Can you think of factors of 81 that also combine to an 18? I know it's not 1 and 81. Is there anything popping out in your head? I would say it's 9 times 9. Let's try 9 and 9. We're multiplying to a positive result, which means same sign. And that sign has to be the addition or the add sign, which is negative and negative. So if I multiply negative 9 times negative 9, I get a positive 81. And if I add them up, I get a negative 18. Done. So the back numbers are minus 9 and minus 9, and the front numbers are x and x. And when you have a binomial that's getting multiplied by itself, you could also write x minus 9 squared, either or. Okay? All right, number 6. We have 4x to the 6 minus 49. So I'm going to try for GCF first. Now, factors of 4 and 49, I don't think 49 is going to divide by 4, but so let me just check it. Does not work out evenly. I know 49 is not going to divide by 2, and those are all the factors of that. So it's not going to be a GCF. What about a dots on this one? Well, there are 2 terms, and there's a minus sign in the middle. So let's give it a shot. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of x to the 6, because it is an even power, that means it is a perfect square. Let's write that down. Even power perfect square. And you remember how to square root it. You're going to take that power and cut it in half. X cubed, x cubed. One gets a plus, one gets a minus, and finally the square root of 49 is 7 and 7. And that is your answer on that one. And the last one, what do we see that we can do here? It kind of looks like a dots to me, but I know better than that. I always have to try GCF first. Is there something in common between 32 and 4? Oh yeah, 4. So 4 is going to get divided into both of these. And when we do that, we get 8x cubed minus 1. Do you see another GCF that you can do? I don't. And this is not a dot because 8 is not a perfect square, and neither is x cubed. And that's that. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. All right. On the back, we've got a whole mix of them. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 for you guys to do on your own. What I would like you to do though, is I would like you to maybe just look with me and we'll just quickly identify on the even side what kind of factoring we're going to use, and then you're going to do everything yourself. Okay, so when I look at number 8, 16 and 81, let's see if there is a GCF there. 81, I'm going to try to divide it by 16 and see if it works. No, it doesn't. 16 divides by 4, so let's check if 81 divides by 4. It doesn't. So I don't think it's a GCF. What do you guys think? I'm going to say that's a dots. And hopefully you agree with me. There's a minus sign in the middle, and I believe everything is a perfect square. Now, number 10, this is a 3-term, so it's a trinomial. I don't see a GCF here. I know it's not going to be a dots. So on this one, I think it's going to be a Ma method. See if you agree with me. Number 12, I've got 3 and I've got 75. And we saw an example like this, so I'm going to assume that this is a GCF question. And on the last one, I've got a trinomial again, 3 terms. I don't see a GCF that I can divide evenly into all of them, so I'm going to assume this is a Ma method. Are you guys getting the point on this? Okay, let's try another one. I know I said I was just going to do the evens, but you know how I like you guys. 3x squared minus 48. Is this going to be a GCF? I think so. And maybe you'll see something else in the middle, okay? How about the next one? I would say that's a GCF as well. Number 15. Do you see a number that you can divide into 16 and 81? I think we tried that already. So I'm going to say no, 16 and 81 don't have a common factor. How about the z's and the y's and the x's? Nope. So believe it or not, this is one term minus another term. I'm going to say that I think this is a dots question. Okay, and while we were going over these, I'm just going to do one of these with you, number 9, and then the rest of them are all yours. So number 9, let's see if we can get a GCF out of this. My GCF that I'm noticing is, what number? Yes, you're right. The number 9 divides evenly into both. X squared and x to the 8th, they both have x's, so it's going to be x to the smaller exponent, 9x squared. Let's see what we get. I'm just curious. So I'm going to divide 9x squared out, and I'm going to get 1 in the front, because 9 divided by 9 divides out, x squared divided by x squared divides out, but please remember that's not a 0, that's a 1, minus 3x to the 6th. Okay, because I'm going to divide these, and remember, when you divide these powers, you're really subtracting like powers with like bases. So can we do anything more? No. Done. All right, so you guys, this is going to be your homework tonight. And what I would like you to do is I would like you to make sure that you have this done for me by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have a Zoom. And let's have a Zoom, I think I said at 10 o'clock with you guys. So we'll have a Zoom on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. See you then, you guys. Have a good day.